Hi, welcome to Bespoke Unit. I'm CP, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Ventura Cigars Psyko 7 Natural. First things first, like every cigar review, we use the Bespoke Unit cigar formula, a quantifiable review matrix that we designed that ensures a quantifiable scoring system. You can download your own blank copy using the link in the description below, so you can review your own cigars at home. We also have this particular PDF on our final written review, so you can see all the scores that have been attributed to this particular cigar. With regards to the storage of the cigar, we use the Boveda acrylic humidor that you see behind me. I use 69% Boveda packs over a 3-week period to ensure they were properly acclimated, and I monitored this with a Boveda butler. Psyko 7 is a line of cigars that was introduced by the Ventura Cigar Company. It is a collaboration between Patrick Hurd, aka El Diablo Blanco, who is the general manager of Ventura Cigars, and Henke Kelner of Davidoff Cigars. These cigars were launched in 2013 and were initially produced in the Occidental Davidoff Cigar Factory in the Dominican Republic. Since the Occidental factory had been converted for storage, the production was transferred to the OK Cigar factory floor. However, I've also heard that they're made in their main Davidoff factory, so I'm not quite sure exactly where they are made. It features a classic accordion style bunching and it's hecho a mano. The wrapper consists of a Dominican Cuban-seed, and the binder is a Mexican Sumatra. The filler, there's a variety of different territories used here and terroirs. You have Peruvian Pelo de Oro viso, you have Honduran Holancha seco, an American Pennsylvanian ligero, and a Dominican hybrid which is not disclosed. This particular cigar that I'm reviewing is a 5.5 by 50 Robusto. I also have here a 48 by 6.25 Toro. I'll be reviewing the Robusto, the reason being that we're also going to be reviewing the other Psyko 7 cigars, such as the Nicaragua and the Connecticut. We will intend on doing the Maduro as well, but we don't have that just yet. And then we're going to be doing a video that compares them all and looks at the one that will be most adapted perhaps to your palate. First of all, we begin this review by analysing the look and feel of the cigar. It has a relatively toothy looking wrapper, quite dark in appearance, with some visible veins. The construction is nice and consistent. There's a firm spring, there are no bumpy spots. It has a walnut colour, as you can see. The sheen is quite oily with some rich aromas. I experienced straw, cedar and cocoa. In the Prelight, I noticed that the draw was ideal. A little bit on the tight side, a touch of resistance, but not too much that would put you off. It had a rich bouquet of flavors and aromas, and I detected a very spicy accord of cloves, nutmeg, as well as a hint of leather. Within the palate, as you can see, I'm almost finished on this cigar, but I have smoked a couple for a full review. The first third offered fertilizer in the opening notes, which was this rich, minerally earthy accord, some copper, slight touch of metallic flavor in there, as well as some boozy, creamy brandy butter. The second third opened up to reveal some charred oak, a little bit of yeasty, toasted brioche, as well as the cloves that were experienced in the Prelight earlier. And the final third reveals a much more robust bouquet of flavors, which consist of ground coffee, some spicy black pepper on the retrohale, and a hint of soft and creamy cinnamon. Nevertheless, this wasn't the most complex cigar that I've smoked. It was still perfect in terms of construction, which I'll touch on in a moment. The mouthfeel was also quite smooth and velvety, with a perfectly balanced astringence and palate stimulation, which stimulated every part of the tongue. The life cycle was somewhat developed, and you did notice an evolution in flavors, although, as I mentioned earlier, it did slightly lack on complexity. Not necessarily in a bad way. This is a nice, easygoing smoke. And the finish that was lingering, and it did last a while, Personally though, I didn't find that the residual smell in the room was as pleasant as the Connecticut and the Nicaragua, which I'll touch on in those videos, as well as the comparative video later on. In terms of burner construction, the draw was ideal throughout. It remained consistent. The temperature was nice and cool. In terms of the burn angle, you will see a little bit of waviness here. Overall, it was quite straight. I haven't touched this up, but there is occasionally a little bit of waviness. And the ash backbone was nice and strong. I had throughout the first third a nice long ash that I chose to break off because I didn't want to pop it up. I didn't want it to plop into my lap during this video. Finally, the last reviewed and scored consideration is the overall experience, which looks at the presentation as well as our usage thoughts. First of all, I love the band here. As you can see, it comes with this large band which is reminiscent of a prescription that goes on a medicine bottle. You can see it here on this version in the cellophane. The original that was released in 2013, I think it had more details on what tobaccos were included in the cigar, and it's signed by El Diablo Blanco, which we know is Patrick Hurd. The box has a lovely presentation, nice slim rectangular box. You can see that in the final written review where there's some pictures. In terms of value, this is astonishing value to say that it was manufactured in the Davidoff Cigar Factory. It costs $8.50 for a single and $7.50 if you buy them in a box. By the way, I'd like to thank Roy Summer of Davidoff UK for sending over the Robustos. I believe that Paul Anthony purchased himself a box of the Toros himself, but it was great to have the Robustos, especially in reviewing all of these cigars together. And finally, with regards to the occasion, personally, I wouldn't want to take a cigar with a big band like this that says Psyko on it to a formal occasion. Nevertheless, this is a great cigar to have casually with friends, and it could be quite funny at an occasion like a wedding as well. So perhaps consider the environment and the context of where you'll be smoking it, but it is intriguingly presented and might be a little bit bold for certain circumstances. Finally, we'll be touching on the pairings of this cigar. Now, this isn't scored, but we include it in the bottom right-hand corner of every cigar formula. First of all, I would suggest pretzels with this cigar, a nice salted gourmand flavor there, or some dark chocolate having a more robust flavor with some creaminess that would go quite well with the toasted brioche in the second third. Alternatively, this would be a great cigar for a barbecue, and you can enjoy it with some char grilled meat. With regards to the beverages, I would suggest a fine champagne cognac, or a cognac with a nice rounded mellow flavor. Alternatively, perhaps consider a Highland single malt that has a richer expression than a whiskey that comes from the other Scotch whiskey regions. Alternatively, another great pairing with this could be a Kentucky bourbon. And if you were to have coffee with this, perhaps go with a dark roasted espresso. Overall, this is an intriguing cigar and very pleasant to smoke. It does lack a little bit of complexity, so if you're looking for something with a greater array of flavors, this might be somewhat underwhelming. The Maduro is supposed to be a lot more complex than this one, but I guess everyone has their own interpretations and their own preferences. Nevertheless, this is a 5-star cigar according to the Bespoke unit cigar formula. It had 83 out of 100, which means that it is a 5-star review. That's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to see the next reviews for Psyko 7 and more cigar and men's lifestyle content. Head to bespokeunit.com to see other things that we do that may well interest you, and I look forward to reading your comments and hearing from you soon. Take care.